Welcome back to Normal Baseball. The Arizona Diamondbacks have won Game 7 in Philadelphia and are headed to the World Series to play the Rangers. We're going to talk about this Game 7. Welcome back to Normal Baseball. I'm Alex Normal Dog. That's Lewis. And Game 7 just happened in Philly, and the Diamondbacks walked in and won their second game in a row in Philly in this NLCS and are advancing to the World Series to play the Texas Rangers. I mean, what a Game 7. Kind of an intense one all around. I'm very excited to see what you thought about the game, Lewis, you being a Snakes lover yourself. So, obviously, let's get into it. Snakes, baby.
Let's talk about it. I mean, holy shit. First off, let's kick it off, right? Let's just talk about the D-backs first. Because Ketel Marte, who led off this game, which he usually leads off against lefties, becomes the new record holder for longest hitting streak to start postseason at 16 games. Congratulations to Ketel Marte. Congratulations.
To start a postseason career.
So career. Yes.
The last time as well.
So, congratulations to him. Second in the lineup was Corbin Carroll, who was really struggling during this NLCS, and he turns it on.
Wait. First of all, when you say struggling, that needs to be stressed a little bit more. Struggling, just to give some context, he was 3 for 26 in the first 6 games of the series. So he was more than struggling.
He was bad.
Yes, very bad, but I'll let you go on and let everyone know what he did in this game.
But guess what? This game, he goes 3 for 4. He also has a stolen base. He had, 2 RBIs? 2 RBIs? I mean...
Yeah, 2 RBIs.
And he's getting interviewed right now. Like, this kid, rookie, is insane.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed, Obviously, in the first 6 games of the series, it's hard to say I was really impressed with him. Going for 3 for 26, but obviously, you turn it on in Game 7, that's what really matters. The fact that you were able to get to that Game 7 and then you turn it on and he was obviously, 2 RBIs, without those 2 RBIs, Diamondbacks, they're tied. That game would be tied. By the way, the final score was 4-2. Don't think we mentioned that either. But yeah, and I think, Corbin Carroll, he also had 2 steals tonight, which I think is also a thing that, Torey Lovullo, Diamondbacks manager, said before Game 6, heading back into Philly, we need to start running more. They stole no bases in the first 5 games of the series, which, the Diamondbacks were a team that stole a lot of bases in the regular season. So, once you get to the postseason, you can't stop being what you were in the regular season. Yeah. And I think stealing bases and base running was a big part of what the Diamondbacks did in the regular season. And we see 2 stolen bases from Corbin Carroll in this game. And not only that, but I believe...
I just want to say that we also said that the catalyst for the Diamondbacks being able to scrap out wins against this Phillies team was creating chaos on the base path, whether that be a steal. We saw the double steal attempt earlier. Earlier in this game, Corbin Carroll almost got picked off and decided to just run to second base instead. That's electric!
Yeah, I mean, and again, Corbin Carroll wasn't the only Diamondback to steal a base tonight. Gurriel stole a base, and Christian Walker stole a base, which, you're not really expecting the first baseman on a team to be stealing bases in Game 7 of the NLCS, and in a very important game. But, Christian Walker is the type of guy that can steal bases, even though he's a first baseman. I think that was a big fault of the Phillies. They tried to warn him, we're going to be running in these next 2 games, and they did. And it worked out very in favor of the Diamondbacks. I believe we have a little not wager, but you asked me like plus minus 1.5 times chaos on the bases for the Diamondbacks.
I believe we did have
you guys
that.
At the under, no?
I believe you did.
I think I was right. I mean, a stolen base doesn't count as chaos on the base pass.
So shockingly enough, I will agree.
Because in the first 5 games of the series, they weren't running on the. They were not creating that chaos on the base pass, which is why they were struggling against the Phillies. They were struggling to score runs in those first 5 games. But then in Game 6 and 7, they remembered and they said, "We got to just continue to be who we are. We're not going to try to change what we're doing. We're not going to be scared to run just because it's the playoffs. We know we can do it, so we might as well." And they really showed out tonight. other contributors to this Diamondbacks lineup. Gabby Moreno, 2 for 4 with an RBI. He has been one of the most impressive people in this Diamondbacks lineup, in my opinion. Yesterday or last night, I guess, or in Game 6 rather, he had a incredible at bat against Aaron Nola. I think it might be one of my favorite ever at bats in the postseason I've ever seen, or like most impressive. He was fouling pitches off left and right. It was the first inning of a game in Philadelphia, so on the road in Philly, and he fought off a bunch of pitches from Aaron Nola and wound up singling. I've just been so impressed with Gabby Moreno this entire postseason, and he's a huge part of this team. And then the last contributor, I don't have written down who had the other RBI, but yeah,
The last RBI comes from Christian Walker.
Christian Walker, gotcha. Okay, yeah, I mean, crazy. Snakes are headed. By the way, once you, I don't have the broadcast pulled up right now. Once they announce the MVP, just let me know because I don't have it pulled up right this second.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I'm thinking I don't know, maybe Ketel Marte because, like you said, that 16-game postseason hit streak to start a postseason career.
You
I mean, that's
have a
pretty good.
case for Brandon Fott.
You have a case for Gabby Moreno too.
You have a
He
case
was-
for
he was
Gabby
really good this
Moreno.
week.
Like
Because if it was the Phillies, it would probably have been Wheeler, which I do want to talk about pitching side too in a second. But it's not as obvious with the Diamondbacks. They had a lot of guys contribute, and obviously they started the series slow too. So
I would also not be upset if they gave it to literally just the entire team because this series for the
Don't do that,
Diamondbacks
though.
was the definition of team baseball. Everyone was picking each other up. No, they obviously won't do it, but just to
Yeah, there's
point
no-
out,
no,
like how well oiled the machine of the Arizona Diamondbacks was, even when they did fall down 2-0. Their backs were against the wall coming back to Philly. And they had to win 2 games in the bank, which we had thought was impossible for the road team to do. And all of a sudden, they squeaked out 2 in a row, and now they're going to the World Series. You just can't make this up. This team has done something special, and honestly, it could not. I think it's only fair to say that this could not have been done without their manager, who has, throughout this entire postseason, bobbed and weaved through their bullpen and turned their bullpen into the reason why we don't really trust them that much, into like, hey, the Diamondbacks bullpen is going to get a lot of outs. And it's been so impressive. I can't.
I agree.
Oh my God.
I think you can go back. I said before this series and before the playoffs in general that the Diamondbacks bullpen it was what worried me the most because in the playoffs bullpen really 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 matters more so than it even does in the regular season. But DBacks literally have proved the haters, which I guess technically you can group me in the haters. They've proved them wrong. Ken Ginkel, absolutely electric. He pitched an inning and 2/3 in Game 7, but struck out the side at the bottom of the 8th, which was
Massive.
so important. I mean, in a 2-run game, if the Phillies are going to get something going late, they can definitely do it, but you just go in there and shut them down. Not only shut them down, but strike out all 3 batters is just absolutely incredible. And especially moving to handing off the ball to Paul Sewald for the 9th. Paul Sewald, this postseason, has literally been untouchable. I mean, 8 innings pitched total in the postseason so far, no earned runs. Literally untouchable. I literally can't remember who has a hit off him. I don't know if anyone has a hit off him in the postseason. I really just want to quickly talk about, before I talk about how crazy I think it is that the Diamondbacks won 2 games in Philly back to back. I want to talk about the Phillies pitching because Ranger Suarez really didn't pitch that bad, but it wasn't good enough for a Game 7. You're putting together this type of performance maybe in Game like 3, and you're like, okay, it
We
really
can
wasn't that
live
bad
with it.
performance. But in Game 7, you can't be having, in Game 7, you really want one of those guys that a Zach Wheeler type who would have went, 6 innings, maybe no earned. They did bring in Wheeler in this game in the 7th, right? They brought Wheeler in. But I think it would have been it would have been so much cooler if they brought in Wheeler when they were winning. They brought him in when they were losing, and I get why they did. Just make sure that they don't score any more runs. That's your best shot. But it just felt like they didn't trust their bullpen, so they're going to go to Wheeler, which I know a lot of teams, especially in recent years, have done that in the postseason. And if they did wind up to win the game, he would have had till Friday to rest. So,
which was, I mean, from a manager standpoint, it was definitely the right decision to make, just because, like you said, you want to prevent them from getting any more runs. So we can, if you're the Phillies, you can guarantee that you at least have a shot for the rest of the game. So good call on Rob Thompson's part. But at the end of the day, Wheeler's not going to put any runs on the board, and the Diamondbacks are going to the World Series.
Yeah, it's a wild sentence to say.
So let it be known, by the way, and I just want anyone and everyone to know this, that the Diamondbacks won this series more than the Phillies lost this series. The Diamondbacks fought, and you just cannot make it up. Like, the Diamondbacks are just something, man. They're something.
Yeah, I cannot believe that they won 2 games in Philly back-to-back. Not only 2 games back-to-back in Philly, but games 6 and 7. If you're talking games 1 and 2, I would say, I'd still be shocked, but I wouldn't be as shocked as, 6 and 7, especially in Philly. And I think the key, most definitely the key, for these 2 games, winning them, was scoring first. I said it before the game. Obviously, I didn't say it on camera or anything, so, believe we want to believe. But I said, whoever scores first is winning this game. The crowd in Philly is so electric during the postseason, but it also feels like they lose energy so fast, which
Totally.
is just weird to me, because I saw it in Game 6. The Diamondbacks scored first. They put 3 runs up on the board before the Phillies got one, and it just seemed like you could tell the ballpark wasn't as electric as it was, when Schwarber hits a first pitch bomb, which makes sense. When you're losing, you're not as electric, but I think you got to keep that energy the entire game. And it felt the same way this game. Diamondbacks struck first, and I thought that was honestly probably the most important part of the game, is getting that first run across the board before the Phillies even got a chance to really score.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Shutting down what feels like the 10th man in the lineup in the Philadelphia Phillies home crowd is such an important and key aspect to the game of playing in Citizens Bank Park, especially in the postseason, now that we've seen it now 2 years in a row. And honestly, this Game 7 was a classic, Phillies lineup thing that we've seen from last season and this season, except last season, they stayed hot for one more game, and they made it to the World Series. This time, their lineup fell just short of staying hot to the World Series. It's a giant what if this lineup could just have been more consistent, but, there's always next year. It's not like anybody on this team is going anywhere. You can only go up from here. The Diamondbacks are going to the World Series.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you told me in the beginning of the year that Brandon Pfaadt and Ranger Suarez would be pitching against each other in a game in the pitching against each other, right, in a game in the playoffs, I would not have picked NLCS Game 7 as that game.
No,
you know what I mean?
I would have told you that's the wild card.
Yeah, maybe wild card game 3. But no, yeah, saying that sentence as Game 7 is just insane. Who would have thought the Diamondbacks would make it to the World Series? And you said it before the postseason started. Nothing is scarier than a team that's playing with house money, and that's exactly what the Diamondbacks are doing right now.
They have nothing to lose.
I would love to find literally any. I don't think there's a single one out there preseason prediction that had them in the World Series. You could argue maybe there's probably a Rangers one out there somewhere. I don't think anyone had the Diamondbacks go to the World Series.
No, besides
this
the
year.
26 guys on that roster, I don't think anyone else saw them going this far for the entire season.
Yep.
This is
Especially with the ups and downs that they went through. They were in first place for a while. Everyone thought they were legit. Then they kind of, as the season went on, they kind of had their ups and downs, and they didn't win the division, and they just snuck into that wild card, and getting hot at the right time. It's similar to what the Phillies did last year.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I want to say it's very similar in the sense of Diamondbacks weren't really projected to be there. Not many people thought they would be there. You would have thought Dodgers, you would have thought Padres ahead of them. And then if you look at the
Braves,
Phillies,
Phillies, Mets.
well, I mean in their division, like teams in
Oh,
their division.
okay.
Just like the Phillies last year, everyone was thinking Braves or Mets, but the Phillies were the ones on top. This year, going in, everyone was thinking Dodgers or Padres, and here the Diamondbacks are on top, and they beat a powerhouse team in the Phillies. And I
They
just think
beat two powerhouse
impressive.
teams, borderline three. Beating
Oh,
the
Dodgers.
Dodgers was
Dodgers beating the
amazing.
Dodgers in the playoffs. I don't know how much that really,
It's
it's
still
pretty
it's still
easy.
something. It's still
Has
something.
proven to be a pretty easy. No, they did it in dominant fashion.
Yes, they
I
did.
will agree.
They beat, like you just said, the Phillies in 7 games, which it was just absolutely amazing. And let's not forget, they also swept the Brewers, which I think it's been, what is it? It's like out of the last 7 seasons, 5 or 6 of the teams to beat the Brewers earlier have gone on to at least make the World Series. Brewers fans, be happy. The road
I
to
wouldn't be
Title
happy.
Town runs through Milwaukee. The Diamondbacks are going to the World Series.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, for a team. For I'd also like to see if there is a statistic that shows, the Diamondbacks won 74 games last year. And in 2021, they lost 110 games. The 2021 Rangers also lost, what, close to 110 games, right?
I think they did 2 years ago.
So, so, I want to know when the last time two teams have had this kind of turnaround in this short of a span of time and faced each other in the World Series, same years. It certainly is a crazy World Series. Um, we'll preview it more, in the coming weeks because Game One is on all the way on Friday, so we still have a little bit until we get to Game One. Um, but I am very excited for this World Series. It's a very not random, but unpredictable matchup, and I think it'll be a fun one. Hopefully,
Yep. And congratulations to Ketel Marte, who gets NLCS MVP. Round of applause for him. I cannot, like we
kind
just
of knew
said
that was coming.
earlier. Yeah, but like we just said earlier, a lot of different people could have won this award, and congratulations to Ketel Marte just for winning this award. Everyone on the team deserved it, but no one deserved it more than Ketel Marte.
Yeah, I mean, we already mentioned it. That 17 or 16 game hitting streak, start a playoff career is incredible. Not to mention in this NLCS, he hit 423. It might be a little lower than that because I don't know if this is with. I believe he went 1 for 5 tonight. Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Ketel Marte, he went 1 for 5 tonight with 4 strikeouts.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's probably a little bit lower than that now, but overall in the series, he batted well above 300, close to 400, a 1.0 OPS in the series. He had a triple in Game 6, few RBIs, and yeah, I think like you said, this award could have gone to the whole team because just so many people contributed. There wasn't like a Adolis Garcia of this series for the Diamondbacks. There wasn't one player that just constantly day in day out just won the games for them. In a sense, So it could have gone to a lot of people, but I think Ketel Marte was at the end of the day the right choice, the best choice.
Totally, totally.
And
I
that's
hope
that's
that
all I got.
I hope that this Diamondbacks lineup just stays hot and gets even hotter and gives us a series for the ages moving forward, which we will definitely be jumping into in the next few days. The Arizona Diamondbacks are going to the World Series.
Yeah, it's fun.
The Arizona Diamondbacks are going to the World Series. Let it be known, by the way.
I can tell you're pumped.
So this morning, I will say right now, I do have because it doesn't matter what time of year it is. You always ride with the boys down south. However, I was debating on wearing my D-back shirt today, and I thought I don't want to be the bad luck charm. I don't want to be because I'm wearing the D-back shirt. They're gonna lose
Fair
tomorrow
enough.
or today, as of the time of this posting. I'm repping my D-back shirt. This has been one crazy postseason run from the not from the Phillies, from the Diamondbacks, and I just cannot believe it. The Arizona Diamondbacks are going to the World Series.
Yeah, you're right. Correct. Correct answer. But yeah, I mean that's all I got. We'll preview it. Like I said, we'll preview it. Before it comes time. We don't really want to get too far into the matchup right now. Early, it looks like I already have my thoughts on what I think is going to happen in the World Series. Um, Game one, you could only assume is going to be Zach Gallen and
Jordan
what's his name,
Montgomery.
Jordan Montgomery. Yeah, Monty. Um, you can only assume, but that's all we know for right now. We'll find out more within the coming weeks. Hopefully, both of these teams are at full strength, and we get a really fun World Series. Any last words, Lewis, before we get going?
The Arizona Diamondbacks are going to
Or
the
going to
World
the World
Series.
Series. Yep.
Oh
All
my
right.
God.
Well, that's all we got for today. Let's go Snakes. Let's go Rangers. Phillies fans, we apologize. But let's be honest, you'll probably be back making another deep postseason run next year. So you always got that to look forward to. And even then, it was a fun playoffs for the Phillies. They had a couple really really fun moments at the bank. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos with that crazy NLDS performance. Yes, he went cold in the NLCS, but
Hey,
he
you
just
beat the Braves. You beat
couldn't
the
finish it out,
Braves.
and you beat the Braves. So
Can't beat
best
a
team in the
powerhouse
NL
team
East.
like the Diamondbacks, but you can manhandle the Braves all you want.
All right. And with that being said, we're gonna head out of here. We thank you guys for watching, listening. Make sure you subscribe, follow the podcast, and share. And we will see you guys next time.